The opinions are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
I want to talk about news, don't want the drama. From no pretentious media Madonna. I found me a great ganja mama. Cannabis and coffee with some marijuana.
Hello, and welcome to my first show back in my new time slot on CBD TV and Pace Radio Network. It's Cannabis and Coffee with some Marijuana. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be back. With all my work schedules and everything that's been kind of going crazy in my life, it was, trying to get up in time to be on the air. I made it today. So here I am back, and I'm going into the 10th year of doing this show. Like, sitting back thinking, like, how long and how many years have we been doing this and fighting, and still, in hindsight, fighting for patients, rights through advocacy and things, with trying to get through to the doctors for legalization, kind of, putting a damper on medical patients' disabilities. But anyways, we've got people out there that are still fighting for the medical patients, that still have dispensaries and other businesses that are still working amongst us, and safe supplies and all kinds of things. So my guest today is Cindy Heemeryck, and all of you, if you don't know, you should know her. She's also Dana Larson's partner, and they run 3 stores in the Vancouver area. And I'll bring her on and let her tell you what's new and exciting in the Lower Mainland. So good morning, Cindy, and welcome to my show.
Tamara. Oh my God, it's such my pleasure to see you and be here this morning. Thank you for having me.
It's been so long. We were talking before the show, and it's been like, okay, I was in Vancouver, 5 years ago?
Oh, geez, since you were at my house? Yeah.
Right, and we were in your house, and I came out for those legalization roundtable, whatever, and stayed with you. And that didn't get us anywhere either, because, here we are. But again, like I said, and I'll say this again, and I don't give a legalization might be bad for some and not great for others. But again, we have 60,000 people a year that aren't being arrested for small possession of cannabis.
That's correct.
Right.
And we have the freedom of growing our own plants. We had so many plants this year. I've been cutting them down recently. I'm sure you're doing the same.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, I think that the prohibition on how many we should be able to have legally is a bit, arbitrary. But again, I think with the new changes, we need some changing. We need to up the milligrams and not put a, restriction on level of milligrams for people for edibles, and be able to have be able to grow as much as we absolutely need. And I don't think anybody is going to, because of the legalization, there's no real market for cannabis on the black market. The prices have come down so much that it's not really even worth growing for anybody but yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I've never set foot in a legal store. I mean, there's so many here. The City Cannabis, and among others, are just expanding so greatly. Like, it's it's good. The good thing is that there's a few old time cannabis dispensaries, like right next door to our shop on Hastings is one of Dana's stores. The Medicinal Cannabis Dispensary, which has 2 locations here in Vancouver, are still going strong.
Right. And that's the thing. There are the pioneers that are still plugging away. And it seems like, thankfully, they're being left to continue to run and not have any, any issues with anybody. Where they're, on the other hand, we've got the VCBC that just seems to be continually harassed by, the CSU or whatever the fuck they call themselves. Right. And I'm grateful that, that you guys keep continuing on, because you are, like, let's face it, Dana is one of the originals. Like, let's face it.
Groundbreaking. I think it's 13 years that the VDS, or the Medicinal Cannabis Dispensary on Hayes, like the original one, would have been 13 years. But for Thurlow, I think it's close to 10 as well.
Right.
And the one next door, they just celebrated their 1 year.
Some of our viewers might not know who you are. So how did you get involved? Yeah, let's go back, 20 years. 20 years, go on. Because it was, not quite 20, but it will be almost 20, because how'd you get in?
Well, I was a self-employed hot dog vendor, as most people know, right? I've been a hot dog vendor most of my life. So, I lived in Red Deer many years, grew up there, and then I moved on to Kelowna later on. I lived in Kelowna almost 20 years, had my business for 15 years of that time, did a lot of on-the-ground work with people at that level. And then Sensible BC came along in 2013, brought all the province together, as you know, right? So we're also celebrating the 10 years of Sensible BC this year. September was actually the month where we were out there canvassing. And I mean, there was over 4,000 canvassers across the province that were out there getting signatures.
Yep. I
So
totally get
that's where I started. Like I was always independent, cannabis, person that was always trying for the better, but I was doing it alone. And it wasn't until Sensible BC that I joined the group and everything started to move so much faster.
right. And look at it, 13 years later, we've got legalization, not
We
in
do.
perfect form, right?
Mm.
And it really has affected, the fact that you can still, medical patients have kind of been left down because of the milligrams and the dosing per se, right? But at least here's another good thing. I mean, I know people don't like to hear the good things about it, but the good thing about it is is that you can, like, a micro crafter can now go to directly sell to the stores, right? So we've got Diecar here, and they're actually like taking their product directly into the legal stores here, so that the legal stores here can promote local business too, right? So that's
Okay.
one thing that I'm finding within the legal market, that they will, help small people out. They do a little bit of discounting here for patients and stuff too, right? So that's a promotional thing that I see that's going on in some of the legal stores here, because I know some of the people that work in them, right? And that's why I do go to the one store here in town, because they're people that I know that they're educated on cannabis, and they know what's good and what's not. Of course, the medical, and they can't. But I quit going to one of the stores here in town because she started yipping at me about how medical was nothing but a pain in her ass, and she wished it didn't exist.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, because they're not allowed to advise patients,
You
right?
don't
Isn't that
tell
still the rule?
that a medical patient that's coming into your store to get their medicine, that it's a pain in your ass and you wish you didn't have to deal with it. That's the last thing you want to tell a customer. No
Yeah,
matter,
I know. It's terrible.
right? You're in customer service. You've been in customer service for how many years too? So again, you're back to, so you hooked up with Dana, and you guys started doing the Sensible and the Overgrow, and all these really cool campaigns that led us
Right?
towards legalization.
Towards,
I was along for the ride with a lot of that, with the end prohibition, NDP prohibition, and when we went
right?
to Toronto.
Right?
The first time, I think that was before you were on board too, but
Right?
we went to Toronto to TY, and we sat in that booth, me and Matt Myrna and Dana. We did the end prohibition
Yeah,
thing with the NDP,
that's
right?
awesome.
Right, and then Sensible BC, and I was still in Alberta, but at the end of the Sensible BC, I had just kind of flipped over and moved into British Columbia, right? So I was able to sign the petition because I had just kind of
Yeah,
hopped in
good.
at the very end of it. But that was, a good thing. But I mean, I've known Dana for a really long time, and I've
Yeah,
known
you
you
have.
now for a really long time. And every time I look around, like, there's nothing but good things that you are
Hmm.
still continuing to do. So
Yeah.
you've got the Coca Cafe, right? And then you've got Mushroom Dispensary as well now too, right? Is there not
Yeah,
enough?
the mushroom dispensary was online first. And then it moved into the cafe in 2021. No, 2022, last year. So we've had the mushroom dispensary for 1 year in the cafe with us. We share the space. Then we moved on. We opened our second store last year. Or was it this year? Oh my gosh, I should have wrote all this down. Okay, no, it was this year. We opened in February of this year, and then we've opened our third store in August of this year.
Right. So things are expanding and still growing, and that's why it's so important for us to keep communicating and keep educating people, because there are
Yes.
other options out there. And I mean, it's not promoting anything but medical, like, because that's exactly what it is. Like, the dispensaries that are different from the legal market, they're recreational medical, and we just need them to distinguish that it's okay to say the word medical, because that's
With
who
mushrooms as well, right? Magic
absolutely,
mushrooms, medical mushrooms.
absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a group of they're doing it again. They're with Health Canada, where they're giving exemptions for people that are near death or terminal illness, and these people are eligible to induce, have mushrooms, but of course they're not eligible to receive them. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Dosed movie. The second Dosed movie was about mushrooms, and well, I guess they both were, but this one was more particular, where they actually came to our store and they filmed inside of our store of the patient in the movie actually purchasing the mushrooms and carrying on with her treatment. It was really cool. If you haven't seen the movies, I'm going to send you the link, because
Yeah,
I
please do,
think
'cause I haven't.
they're out now. Like, you used to have to
Oh,
go to the theater, but I think you can watch them at home now, like
oh, okay.
purchase them or whatever. And
Well, you know, I
really,
watched a
there's
documentary on CNN a few weeks ago where these people were actually in the States going to a clinic in Jamaica
oh wow,
where
I
they
didn't know about that.
actually,
I was in Jamaica last year.
yeah, well, apparently there's clinics and even in the States who are they're looking at this too, and apparently there's a couple in Canada as well where they reach out to these, clinics, and they get to know each other prior to going, and then they all go down and get these treatments, and they microdose them first, and then it's a 3 or 4 day or a week thing, and they give them a couple dosing, and
Yeah.
the one guy swears that it's, cures alcoholism. The first time they didn't feel anything, but one of the reporters from CNN
Yeah.
who's suffering from guilt and anxiety from, whatever trauma that he was dealing with, actually went through the treatment himself. So the CNN reporter then documented everything that he went through during this and where he went and how it started. And then it was on, yeah, it was on CNN. It was on a few weeks ago. It was fabulous. But
Oh, I
showing
would
the
love to see
benefit
that.
of
Yeah.
mushrooms,
I
right?
mean, we
Psilocybin.
have stories. Our customers come in all the time. One, it just brought me to tears. He had severe sleep problems and was narcolepsy, and so wasn't able to drive, wasn't able to do anything. Like, when you have that, like, that's a debilitating disease to have, right? And he told me with the microdosing he had done that it had changed his life, right? That he had never been able to get through a whole day even, right, without falling asleep. And so I haven't seen him recently, but he used to come in quite often and just want to hug all of us, right? Because he was on the verge of wanting to die before he found mushrooms himself.
Yeah,
And that's my greatest story.
that's
But
awesome.
there's plenty
I
of
mean,
other ones, plenty of stories that people, with nausea and cancer and all kinds of things, that the mushrooms are able to give them a better insight into what they're dealing with. And that's what the movie was about too, right?
right. Well,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the thing. I think there's a level of consciousness that they open that we're not aware of, right? And I don't, like I said, I'm not a big fan of any of them because I've had some pretty rotten recreational trips on them.
Right.
Like, and that's me. I'm not saying that about anybody else. Other people
Right.
have had fabulous times. They love them. They think they're great. If they can get their hands on them every time they get a chance, they're taking them, right? And that's good for you.
It's fine. Yeah.
Again, if you overtake them, and that's what happened. I took too many and I got sick, and
Yeah.
and that happens. It's like anything, right? You have to be careful not.
Well, I don't take them either. I mean, how we get so many samples. So funny, right? People want us to carry their products. So it's just like in the cannabis world, people would bring edibles and
Yeah,
tinctures and whatnot. Same thing. We have boxes overflowing of samples. And how on earth are we ever going to sample the samples? Like, you can't go around taking mushrooms every day, right? So,
well, not well. I mean, people do when they microdose or taking their 25 milligrams twice a day or whatever, but that doesn't get you high, right? Like that little
no, the
capsule is
microdosing is
25
not meant to.
milligrams, right? It
No.
doesn't really. I still don't want to do that. Like, I'm still not. Well, I'm not anxious and I'm not depressed to begin
No,
with. But I've got attention deficit, and I think the mushrooms would just accentuate that and make it worse for
I don't
myself.
know.
But I already think that. So if I already think that's what's going to happen, if I take the mushrooms, it likely will because your brain's already, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm already scared and I'm already like with it,
Yeah, I wouldn't advise it either.
my paranoia is going to be just become more accentuated with the psilocybin. That's so I just stay away from them.
Well, we have peyote, LSD, DMT, lots of other products, too. Not just, we're called the Mushroom Dispensary, but we've really opened up our field of products, and there's always more coming. I mean, we still have coca leaf and coca powder, Bombay, different kinds of things. We're sold out a lot of times because of Canada Border Services, right? They're not our friends. So, sometimes we just have to wait months between orders and then all of a sudden things will come in, a big bunch of stuff, and we're restocked again for a while, right? And we're able to put our website back on, because it's actually been shut down, our website, all summer. And I get emails, and it's just heartbreaking. People, across the country, they want to not our mushroom dispensary, this is our coca leaf dispensary, right? They want to have the coca leaves and the coca tea, but we're just not able to supply our website right now. It's all of our product goes into making the tea at the cafe for people that come in every day.
Well, yeah, because you got to keep something on. You have to have something that you can sell in brick and mortar. It's not cheap. It's not free. That building costs rent and overhead and everything else. You got to keep the doors open, and so you can help.
Yeah, and the staff. It's like now it's just staff. Like, we're expanding so fast that we're trying to find the right group of people to expand with us. And right now we have a solid team, and I've just recently hired 4 new people. So hopefully they're gonna be the ones we're looking for, because everyone's on probation. You know how it goes. So
I sure do, and that's tough too. And being the store kind of store it is, there's a bit of a risk that runs along with that job too,
right? So they get paid slightly more. If anything were to happen, then Dana would assume all risk and responsibility for that, and it's highly unlikely anything's going to happen. I mean, we get VPD officers coming into the cafe. We always have, right, since day one, but they don't want to talk to us about what we're selling. They want to use our security cameras outside, our footage. Something's happened in the neighborhood, and they need to see if we have any proof of anything. So
they have bigger things to worry about.
They send detectives over, they send like plainclothes officers, and so we're their friend on that hand. We love to work with them, right? And it's happened at least, I would say, 6 or 7 times now.
Right.
So, we have a great relationship with our neighborhood, our business association, and the VPD.
That's awesome. Well,
I know.
Great. Like that's such a good vibe to have. And that vibe should go across the whole country. Like, we should be able to not have law enforcement that we can't trust. You know what I mean? Law enforcement that we're always looking over our shoulders for. But I know that even like since legalization, who's getting arrested for cannabis? I haven't even
Not
like impaired. Like, over the long weekend, their SMP always puts out, how many impaired drivers or whatever they pull out. Right. And the reason for it. And not one of them was because of drugs. It was all because of alcohol. They were all impaired driving, taken off the road because of alcohol, not because of, they were smoking weed.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Right. And that's the thing. Like, it's so like laid. But I thought when I first moved out here, it would be way more laid back than it was. And where you are out here, you might as well be in Alberta, dude. You live in Red Deer.
Yeah.
It's pretty conservative here, right? So it's not as easy to, get everything right.
Oh, it's so difficult. Like, I lived in Kelowna. The first few years I lived in Kelowna, I felt like I was in vacation for like the first 3 years. And that's hard to understand, but it's a vacation town. So when, like, to adjust to, oh, this is my life now, like, it was something else, right? But obviously I started a business and started, I lived in the same house for 10 years, just like you, an older house, right? Yeah. And then that house eventually got just tore down and replaced as well. But yeah, it was just like it kind of outgrew Kelowna. Like, I've done everything there, and my relationship I was in had ended, and I was just ready for the big change. And I wasn't sure the city is what was meant for me, because I would come here a lot, but I was always happy to leave, right? Because it was just intimidating. Right, for a long time. And then Dana used to always say to me, well, when you move to Vancouver, and I'd be like, what? I'm not moving to Vancouver. And then it's just so funny how it turned out, right? In 2016, I was here while we went to the Bio Cup in 2016. And then I went home, and then I just turned around and moved back here, like all within a week or two.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I haven't looked back. I have moved to this place where I'm in now. I'm very grateful and thankful to have this townhouse. It's a townhouse inside of a building, so it's a penthouse on the top floor. So
Yeah.
it's got 3 floors inside of it, though. But it's a really cool little bachelorette pad. That's what I
Yeah,
call
I
it.
like. Right, and the view too, like over the
So
bay.
yeah,
Like
let's go look at the view. It's not a
the view
very
from
clear
Cindy's
day,
living
but
room, people.
I'm
I know
going to
it's
turn around in front of the window here, and people can see what I see.
isn't that
Which
gorgeous?
it's East
There's
Vancouver.
Vancouver. Yeah,
BC Place over there. And then, like Hastings Street, Pender Street, you can see all that. And then over towards
are
the
you close,
water.
are you close enough that you can walk to work then?
I could, except for my dog
Right.
has to go to daycare every day, so I have to drive her
Right.
there. But yeah,
Can't leave
this is,
Panda home alone.
pardon?
You can't leave Panda home alone.
No, I've never left her home alone. My goodness, she's right here too. Should we say hi to her?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And it was her birthday yesterday, you said, right? So she's
Yeah, she's 2 years old now, and she's like my world. Pretty
I know.
much.
That's awesome. And that's the best part about it. Like it's just that you can have your dog there too, and then everything's right there for you. And yeah, Vancouver is beautiful. I've always liked to visit.
Well, I'm on Granville Street, right? So I mean, it's definitely
Right downtown,
fun. Yeah, I mean, the Commodore Ballroom is just down the street,
right?
and like I haven't been there recently, but I did go see April Wine there a few months ago.
Oh,
So
nice.
that was pretty fun. I'm just gonna go walk upstairs. I've got a joint to light up
Yeah,
because it is
absolutely.
to marijuana show.
It is, and I got one right here too.
Hey, come on,
Sweet.
sweetheart. We're gonna go
So,
up my stairs.
yeah, well, like I said, like you said, the border services are not your friend. Like I was actually I wondered about that. Like, how y'all getting that stuff up here? Like, how does it work? Like, is it being grown here? Because coca leaf isn't something we can grow in our gardens here. It needs a specific kind of soil, no? Or
Uh-oh.
you froze for a minute. Oh,
Are
looks
you
like
still
we might
there?
have. Yeah, I'm still here. Yep,
Sorry
I
about that.
am still here. That's okay. No worries. It happens. So like
All
yeah,
right.
so so the border causes issues with getting the product across the borders, right?
Right. We have a lot of contacts in different countries in South America. So packages come at different times throughout the month.
Right.
We have a lot of receivers that receive packages. And it's just a gamble, like basically every time they send one, we track them. Some of them are untrackable until they hit Canada. So
Right.
you really don't even know what's going on until
Yeah.
it's time, and then finally they get through.
That's good. That's good. Is there any way that it can be like so that it's done that they wouldn't have to be buying from suppliers? Could you not be supplying ourselves somehow, some way with this, or
Sorry about that. What happened?
you just glitched for it. Is there any way that you can grow in the greenhouse the same? Can we not produce it like we do cannabis in Canada, or is it need specific?
Well, we've been growing coca plants since 2019. They're very finicky. They're a bush, right? It's not really a plant, or it's more of a bush. So
Right.
it's very, very, very finicky. We have several places that are growing the leaf.
Okay.
But I mean, you could never grow enough leaf to supply us with the powder, because the leaves need to be ground up into coca powder, and that's what we make the tea out of.
Ah,
So
gotcha.
it'd be very, very difficult to grow that much. But
Right.
we're doing it. We're still experimenting, and it's always fun to see how they grow and how slowly they grow. It's very, very
Right.
slow.
Yeah. Well, it's like anything, like even with cannabis, like, everybody says, oh, you can get 3 crops off a year. If you're growing them this fucking tall, then
Yeah,
fucking
maybe
cash,
2.
right? Like, seriously, if you want a nice plant that's fucking, gonna get some decent buds off, you're looking at 6 months. You're looking at 2
Yeah.
crops a year, maybe. And
Yes.
I've had these guys outside since May, and it's now September. They're in bud, but they're not going to be able to be left outside, nor do I want them to. I'm going to bring them in and put them under a light here right away, but they're not going to finish off. Like, that's where he said, oh, we grow in Canada. Where?
Yeah. Well, in Kelowna, I had a pretty awesome setup in my greenhouse in my backyard.
Yeah.
And I grew some massive plants over the years I lived there, like 10, 12 footers.
Oh yeah. If I
Because
took mine,
they would
but
hit
that's
the roof and then go across the roof of the
top.
greenhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I put mine in the ground, they probably would too. But I keep mine contained in 5-gallon buckets because I want to bring them in the house. And they're only going to get so tall when they've only got so much room for root growth, right? That's just it. And when you get the 10, 12 feet ones, you're either growing in fucking huge garbage cans, right? Like huge pots, or you're outside in dirt. And yeah, because they need that root.
Ground, yeah, in the greenhouse. Yeah.
Right? And that's great. But I have never put one in my backyard that I just let go. I've always got mine in buckets because I'm always wanting to bring them in.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
And I should have put them in garbage cans, but I didn't.
Yeah, I miss growing. We had Cannabis Day, right, and BC Bud Day, so we always go down to that, and there's always people that bring their plants. Yeah. So Dave always ends up buying a bunch of plants, so we end up with some this time of year. And I've just been trimming them in the last week, and I forgot how much joy and pleasure.
Yeah,
it really is.
I only have 2 of them. It's not like I got a big grow. I got 2 plants, and I just love going out there. Go out in the red room, and it smells. Now you can smell the little, the buds are growing, and it's all nice, nice, beautiful white bud. And I'm like, yeah. And if I had the time, but my poor basement flooded twice in 1 year, and I still can't afford power, right? Like I'm still at 60 amp power, so my basement flooded, so I can't even put anything down there until I know it's all good, and that means I gotta either knock this house down and start fresh or fucking start renovating. But that entails money I don't got. So same old story, right? Like who's got 30 grand for a roof? And that's what they want for a roof. $30,000 for a roof. Just go buy a fucking house. This house was bought for $5,000. And you want fucking $30,000 to fix the roof on a $5,000 house.
It's insane.
It's kind of like putting, into an old car. You know what I mean? New motor into a new,
Yeah, it's insane, the renovation costs of anything nowadays, like our stores, right? Of course, they're not ready. When we get second and third stores, we have to do renovations inside as well.
Of course you do. Painting and all kinds of stuff, right?
We have a great team. Dana has staff, employees that have been with him longer than me, 10 years, more. And I won't mention their names, even though I'd love to, but they like to keep quiet. But
yeah, of course.
It's just really reliable folks that step up when you need them. You can't thank them enough when you're against the gun, let's say, and your time is money.
Yeah,
so
it's crunch time, right?
Yep. So it's so wonderful to have great people around you that can help you and help him make his dreams come true. Because that's what we do, honestly, right?
Yeah.
He dreams it up and we go, okay, let's do it. And then, it could take months, but it gets done.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. And you're living your best life while you're doing it, because along for the ride, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Along for the ride, and and the fun that goes along with it, and the people that you help, and that's too at the end of the day. Yeah, like that. At the end of the day, you're helping people, whether it's with advice, non-advice, product, sitting down, being an ear, just being on that street, the sandwiches that you guys do, all the free giveaways that I know that you guys do, because I know on a continual basis that's just the way you both are.
We'd love to do more, we'd like to do a lunch giveaway once a month, so that's something I might look at over the winter months, where we can heat up soup and give away soup sandwiches, lunches, for people on the street, because we are on Hastings Street. Our address is 651, so we're down in the 600 block, but we're not that far from the people who are suffering and need help, right? Street help.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about Overdose Awareness Day. Like, I don't know if you guys did anything in.
Yeah, we have a walk-in Cranbrook too. We absolutely do. Let's take our quick break right now. Then we'll take about a 2-minute break, and then we'll come back and we'll start back about that, because that's something that I hold very dear to my heart too. Mom Stop the Harms is a group that I follow on diligently. I have a friend that's very involved with Mom Stop the Harms, and I'm also a mother of an addict and a recovering addict myself. So let's come back to that when we get back here. So we'll take a quick break. Unfortunately, I can't talk to you behind the break, and I'm probably going to run and use the washroom. So you have 3 minutes to do what we need to do behind the scenes. And we'll be back. We'd like to thank our sponsors for making sure that we got, a platform, and to Al Graham for always helping me out and giving me a space. We'll be right back after a quick break.
No problem.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor? If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Cannabis edibles are an effective way to manage pain and other ailments, especially when you deal with your trusted partner, Legacy 420, in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. You see, we lab test every product on site to ensure proper dosage every time, which is critical when consuming cannabis edibles. All Legacy 420 edibles are made by our classically trained baker and chocolatier, and we also have super tasty vegan options.
Our baker has been in the industry for 25 years. She's also a chocolatier. Everything from savory to sweet, your chocolate bars, brownies, butter tarts, you name it, we make it.
Talk to our knowledgeable Cannatex about our incredible variety available. Give your trusted partners a call. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
All right, we're back. And I have a friend that everybody needs to see. This is Bubba.
Aw.
It's one of mine because this little guy needs a home. So,
Oh,
anybody's looking for a little church, this guy needs a house.
Look at the ears. My goodness.
Yeah, he's got his mom's ears. His mom's right here, too. This is his mom. Come here. Come here, Potts. This is his mama.
Oh, yeah, twinsies.
Yeah.
Well,
Mom.
I looked after, Christy has a Chihuahua, my daughter, as you know, so I had the pleasure of looking after him this past weekend.
Yeah.
So they are very sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always had bigger dogs, but I mean, they are very sweet.
He's so cute. And he's got long hair because he's got his dad's hair, right? So he's got the Yorkie hair, so he's longer haired.
So cute.
Yeah, and the other one, the girl's on her way to pick up Benz. His name's Benz. So he'll be leaving today. And this little guy's going to be sad, so.
Yeah. That's too bad, but
yeah,
it's best. It's best, Tamara.
It is. I do not need another dog, right? So again, I'm going to put him back quickly, and then we're going to get back into Addiction Awareness Day. And you can let us know what's going on.
Yeah. The love over there is unbelievable, right?
Too many to talk about. And again, that's the thing that we've lost. I hate to even say it. Addiction has taken so many of our friends. in my life anyways. And
It
my daughter,
continues to.
right? My daughter is still on, using, and I don't even know where she is. We know she's alive, but I don't know where or what she's doing. She doesn't contact me at all. So yeah, Addiction Awareness Day. I think there was a march here. I know we had a suicide march done up at the college as well.
Wow.
There was quite a few, stuff, awareness, and Cranbrook has an Anchors,
Right.
and they've got a machine just like you have at Test Your Own Drug. So we have a very good system here in our little town. And it's probably the only one in the whole other one in the province besides you out at the coast that has this machine here at the Anchors in Cranbrook. And it's the full spectrum. So they can
Yeah.
test the drugs.
Oh.
And then a drug alert will go out from Anchors. And our radio stations all pick it up. Our media, our local media. It's on our Facebook pages. And they really raise awareness. And right now there's some really bad fentanyl running through our town. And we are having people dropping like fucking flies. So when you talk about awareness, it's kind of hard not to, because it's around us on a daily basis. I work in a grocery store. I've got to get into Anchor so I can get a naloxone kit. So I've got the ability to help somebody if they come into the store. And it's something that my bosses don't want to deal with because they're Koreans. And they've been in Canada for 30 years, but they're still very integrated in their own community. They don't, they stick pretty close to their own people, and they don't speak very good English still, even though they've been in Canada for 30 years. Both speak Korean and Japanese, which is, I'm jealous because I wish I could speak Korean and Japanese, but they do not speak English. She's not so bad, but his dad doesn't speak English at all, right? So trying to talk to them about drug awareness and having this, in the store is difficult. But we need to have those conversations with people.
Is that your phone? I don't know. It could be. I told people not to bug me, but okay. So yeah, it was my 7th overdose awareness event. It used to be on a different day. Well, they also have the day of action. So there's actually 2 events every year, right? One's in April, one's in August. Here, anyways, and the August 1st has been the overdose awareness day for quite a while now. And we've done different things. Originally, we used to just go and take part as a spectator, but more recently, we've actually got involved, right? And so this year, we were at Oppenheimer Park, and when we first got there, it seemed like no one was coming, and we wondered why they moved the event. It used to be at Main and Hastings. And then it wasn't long after we set up, and there was 5 of us, counting my daughter. And we just brought a table, a couple chairs, and we had these. Oh, I should have brought one home and shown you. We had these bags that Jerry, my good friend Jerry, had made for his business that he was going to use to give to his customers, right? So they said the drugstore on them. They were just small little bags with handles on them, paper bags. So after he passed away, and he left a lot of his stuff at the cafe, and we're still dealing with it. And I'm able to talk about this now, so it's very good. But we used those bags this year, and we were able to put the goodies in those bags, and we somewhere between 400 and 500 of them we gave out that afternoon. Oh my God, it was so wonderful. Like, I had ordered cupcakes and muffins and donuts and cookies, and we had chips and pop and water and juice, and we just, like, real snack bags. We just loaded them, and people would come by and just grab one, and a lot of them would get $5 bills in them, because that's what Jerry used to do, right? Yeah, so we just had a stack of $5 bills,
right?
And when no one was looking, I'd give Dana some, and he'd go along and put the $5 bills in the bags, and people would find that in their snack bag that day. So that was our contribution this year. It was a fantastic day. The sun was shining. Hundreds, like you said, obviously hundreds of people came. So
and that's the best way that you got to reach out and make sure that there's awareness made, right? Because again, like, we don't know what trauma has led anybody to where they're at, right? And I wish that people would teach their children compassion and trauma and what it is and what the reaction is, because, like, in reality, It could be as easy as a broken heart when you're 14.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can be you getting kicked out of school because you didn't, you know what I mean? Like there are so many things that, like there were. I was watching another program too. It takes like the first formative years are 1 to 5, and if you aren't down on the floor playing with your children and talking to them and teaching them in the first 5 years of your life of their lives, you've lost that child. So how many people are leaving that to a daycare worker because they have no other choices, right? That they've got to go to work and they've got to do these things and they're not able. So, I mean, we've got so many children slipping through the cracks, not necessarily by any fault of their own or the parent, right? So, you know, like I said, it can be trauma can be as simple as a broken heart for some people, right? And that leads to,
It's so bad here, though. I mean, I don't drive down Hastings Street. When I go to work, I take an alternate street. Like, I just can't do that every day on my way to work, you know? And it was way worse in the summer. I mean, with the tents and everything that was you know, it was so bad. And the fires, I can see most of the fires from here, from my house. Like, I don't know how many 30 fires maybe there's been this year. Like, just, it's insane. Like, it's insane. Like, but the BC government, they have done stuff. Like, you see, they brought in, like, they're kind of like, I want to say they're not ATCO trailers, but they're like, camp trailers, you know, that people live in when they work at the gold mine or whatever. So I've seen like so many of those set up, and now people are actually moving into them finally, right? So they are anywhere they can find to set these trailers up, like 6 or 8 of them together, they're doing it. They're taking up parking lots, you know, they're going on existing city property and putting these up, right? So I mean, like, there definitely are doing stuff. If people don't think they are, but they are here.
yeah. Well, I mean, even here,
Everywhere,
like
right?
we've got the hill,
everywhere.
right? Like we've got the hill, we call it. We've got tent city here in Cranbrook, population 20,000
Wow.
people. We still have them. Yeah, we do. So the city's trying to clean it up too, right? Because it's a municipal BC, you know, housing kind of hand in hand type of thing. They have the travel lodge, which has been, and I've got a friend that works the night shift out at the homeless shelter, right? And it's like it's like a hotel, which is good. But they also put an emergency phone out there for them because we've had people overdose out there. So there's now an emergency phone because not every one of them has a cell phone, right? Not everybody has that. And then we had the fire down on our res, the Accoms, and there's 7 houses that got burnt in the fire down there. So there's people that are, you know, trying to raise money to rebuild their homes. So, you know, we try and, you know, you just do.
Yeah, fire. Why do they go hand in hand, homelessness and fires? Like, it's just, and look at Prince George, right? Just yesterday, or they've cleaned out that one in Prince George. And I've been watching that story, and holy crap, they let them accumulate a lot of stuff in that location, right?
Yeah.
Before they let the problem get so bad,
Yeah.
right, to start with, and then they, you know, complain that it's so bad, and then when they're finally decamping them or taking them apart, right? So I don't know what's going to happen in Prince George.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's so bad, and then, you know, people here bitching because you know, they're busing people in, and they're not. These are people that live here. These are people that live here.
Penticton, like, the list could go on and on, right? Like, a lot of our cities in the province all have homeless problems, addiction problems, you know, overdoses.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
And that's where these, you know, awareness, like you said, you know, the day of, you know, action and these days of awareness where hundreds of people show up because they are aware and they want to make change. And it's not necessarily reaching to the people that need the change and the help, though. You know what I mean? Like, is it the people that actually need the help coming to these awareness walks? Are they getting anything out of it? Are we just all showing up as a feel good thing for ourselves saying, yay, we see this, but the people that need help don't see it. They do, but like they're not there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
last year they had the street dance. Well, the last 2 years, actually. That's why I was shocked it was at the park this year. It wasn't at Main and Hastings, where they actually closed down the streets. And that brings awareness to everybody who's, you know, got to go around, right, you know, and be bothered by it. But the joy for me was in those 2 years was watching the people. Like, they put on a concert for them, bands were up playing on the stage, and these guys are out there on the street actually dancing, right? And That was the joy for me. That was totally the joy for me. Like, to see them, how much fun they were having on their day, right?
Yeah.
But this year, there was a DJ. It was just different. It was at a park. It was much smaller.
You have a new mayor out there, don't
Everyone
you? Like,
dancing.
they replaced your mayor, so you got a new mayor out there in Vancouver that's probably not as liberal as the one you had prior to begin with. I think he's a real duck ass, as well, from what I'm hearing. That he's wanting to, basically, if he had his way, he'd just take a bulldozer right down the middle of fucking East Hastings and clean shit up.
Yeah, I don't really hear much from him, surprisingly.
Yeah, well, like there's that too, right? But again, there's a lot of quirping and a lot of quirping about, and I know Alberta has put in a new legislation, and this could be why it's kind of backfiring and it might backfire for some of us too, is that because of drag time storytelling, because of the protests, they have now put in that you cannot protest that close to the event because of these idiots that show up at these drag time story. So you have to be a certain distance away from a doorway, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is in Alberta, right? But that was to protect the drag queens that were doing the story time, because
right.
lunatics were showing up with their signs and save your children and stay away from my children. And it was just like, where are these fucking nuts coming from? But then again, we have to also remember
we've got a lot here too. In Surrey,
we've got a lot of Muslims that that live here now too, and in their Quran, they did that. So here we are back to religion.
Yeah. Religion and politics, right? The things they told us not to talk about when we were kids, right?
Yeah, religion and politics, and now that's all we do talk about, because it's all in our faces all the time. Like, you can't even get away from it. You can't even turn the TV on and not somebody's talking about it. I can't go to work and not have somebody bring up a mask. I'm like, why are you well, COVID's back here. I'm never gonna wear a mask again, even if I mandate. You won't see me in here with a mask. I guess I won't see you in here at all, then I said. He just kind of looks at me. I'm like, meanwhile, nothing has been said about a mask mandate. Nothing has been said. I've not said a word. With the conversation wasn't even in it, and all of a sudden he starts in about the masks, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? This is like last week. I'm like, yeah, bye. Just I can't do it. I can't do it. Like,
yeah, we'll do whatever I don't think there'll be regulations again, but like if there was, we would do it. But otherwise,
I'm not going to mandate anything. It's not my choice, right? But I will be wearing a mask whether it starts getting me down or not, because of my health, and that is because of my health and my choice, not because the government's telling me to or my boss is telling me to or anything else. I get one fucking sniffle on, I have to work. Like, I don't have any backup. I have no other staff that can cover my shift for me. It's me and the family, and that's it. So I have got to work, right? So I got to stay healthy. So
and what are your hours? I never did know what are you?
3:30 now till 10, and it'll be 3:30 till 9 as of October 1st, because we close at 9 now. We're going to be closing an hour early for winter. And 6 days a week. Today's my day off.
Wow. Yeah, those are similar to our hour. Well, we're open 10 to 10, but I mean, we have a shift that starts at 3, right? A second shift that goes to close. So yeah, but yeah, opening 10 to 10 was the best thing we ever did. So, but our other stores are not open. They're one shift, 11 to 7, which is fine for now. But our main headquarters is open till 10, and it's it's just as busy in the evening as it is during the day. So
yeah. Right, and that's the thing. Like, if you've got the traffic to keep the doors open, why wouldn't you? And that's exactly what I figure. And even now, like, because it's starting to get dark and it's in the fall, people are in.
It is.
And people
driving home last night.
Right? So like at 9 o'clock, it's like if I close the doors at 9 o'clock, it wouldn't matter, because between 9 and 10, in the last couple of days, I've had like maybe 3 customers like come in, like, and they're always the late stragglers that are coming in at 10 to 10. And it's like, I got the floors washed, I got everything cleaned up. I'm, the Slurpee machine's fucking almost getting shut off, and they want Slurpees at fucking 10 to 10. And I'm like,
that's me. No.
I just kind of shake my head and smile and go, yeah, go right ahead. I didn't turn the Slurpee machine off. Right? I don't turn it off after 10. Like, when I close and lock the door, the Slurpee machine gets shut off, because you always got that last straggler, right? But again, like I said, we're gonna be closing here at 9, so I won't be out so late. But it's tiring. Like I said this morning, I should have been up to take Taylor to school, and Apparently, we both
What?
slept through those alarms, and was going to go at lunchtime, and he's still feeling like shit. And that poor
Aw,
kid just
poor
doesn't
guy.
feel. He goes to school 1 week, and he's sick already. Like, just not feeling himself. Like headachy, bleeding nose. Like just like
Aw, poor guy.
yeah. Well, COVID, long COVID, and I hate to say
What
that
about
word.
the fires? How did you manage with the fires around your
Oh,
area?
I was fine because we're not close, but Kelowna really got nailed, right? But we weren't
Yeah,
close.
I
Nothing
thought
really
Camden did
affected us out here but the smoke because we didn't have anything close this year, thankfully.
Okay. Yeah, the
Yeah.
fires. We had a very good summer right until the very end here when the smoke started
Well, I
coming
guess
in.
we did. I mean, on the res, like we had the Acom, right? We had the one on the reserve, which is only 11 kilometers from town here, and
Yeah.
out by the airport and stuff. We did have that one, but because it was on reservation land, it was closed to the public. All their meetings and everything that was anything about the fire was closed to the public.
Well,
They just kind of kept it to whatever they, and
wanted you to know. Yeah.
that's, you know what? That's up to them. They want to, like yeah. So, yeah, but they got that under control, and the airport didn't burn to the ground, and everything seems to be out now. But there's a couple around the air, like around us, like Castlegar kind of thing. I think in
Yeah.
northern British Columbia, they say they're going to burn until it fucking snows. So,
Jesus. Well,
right,
that'll
and
be soon,
that's the
right?
whole province. Got one up north, up where Sarah and Sean are, up behind Prince George, like way up north. That's the
Yeah.
biggest fire we've ever had in British Columbia history, and it's still burning. It's a monster
Yeah.
up there. It's burnt like
Yeah, it's a
fucking half
monster.
the province, and they say that's going to burn till the snow flies, and then it'll probably burn underground all winter until they,
Jeez.
because that's what they do. They start hitting the roots, and if the root base is,
Yeah.
burn all underneath the ground, depending on how dry it is, right? And if it's that dry, it'll just fucking continue to burn underground all winter long with isolation of the snow on top. It'll just be embers.
Be like a little oven in there.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then ready
that's
to start up
crazy.
again. Yeah.
Well, I have a
First,
holiday booked. The only holiday I booked all summer long was in June, and we were going to go to Tofino, and that was the week that the rock slide and the fire and everything happened in Tofino, and the highway was closed. So I never got to go to Tofino this year. Unfortunately, that was my only holiday that I
oh,
had.
yeah, no, I haven't taken a holiday. Like I said, Alvin keeps promising me a trip, but like then I look around and think,
Yeah,
I don't know where I'm going with all these dogs. Can't pack them,
yeah.
fly them with me, and I can't leave them with anybody because they don't
No,
really know anybody.
they're too much. Your babies. Yeah, I have a hard time leaving my dog too now.
Yeah.
But I am going to Cancun. I have a trip booked in November with one of my friends. We're going to a Gen X party. So, oh my goodness,
Hey.
that's going to be insane. Twisted Sister's going to be there. Pat Benatar.
Oh, that's great.
It's going to be like so much fun. Great White, if you know that band, they're going to be there. There's so many. There's 21 bands that are playing in the 7 days that you're there. So pretty excited about that.
I would be too. That sounds like a
So,
blast.
yeah.
I mean, like, you just open another store, like you got 3 stores running, like you're just like on
I
the
need
go.
a
You're
vacation.
busy.
Yeah.
Vacation time for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We think we're gonna stop at this point. The thing is that landlords come to us, right? We don't seek out these other stores. They have been coming to us saying, we have this property and we want to rent to you. And this is how we got our second location in Broadway and our third location on Granville Street down in Marpole. And that's because of the landlords. So, I mean, we're never saying never, but we're not actually planning on
Another
looking
store,
for another store. Yeah, unless, anything can happen.
right? You never know what might just turn up and drop into your laps, right?
Yeah, it's
Which is
crazy.
always good because, like, that's a sign. It's a sign that it's needed, it's well accepted, it's tolerated, and people are needing it. Supply and demand, right? And that's what's the key to this. Is that
And
the more education.
The third store is like down by the airport almost, right? So it's servicing a whole different part of the city and surrounding areas, right? So it's just been open. This is the third week, I think yesterday, 3 weeks. And so it's growing like every day, right? So sooner or later, I'm sure it'll be a cute little stop, and it's free parking out front. Like you can't beat that, right? So
Right.
We'll just watch it grow. It's so fun to watch them grow.
Right. And accessibility too. Like if people need access, people want access.
I just keep getting text messages. I don't know if you can see them falling in front of my
No,
camera.
I can't.
No, okay, because it's one after the other. I'm just keep swiping them, but okay, cool. I'm glad
No,
you
I
can't see them.
No, can't see nothing. Just your beautiful face.
Aw, you're so
Well, we got
sweet.
about 5 minutes left. Do you
I
want
know.
to
I looked.
shout out? And I told you it would go by quick. Shout out to anyone and your address where people can locate the stores and promote
Yes,
yourself.
651 East Hastings is our headquarters. Right next door, 649 is the cannabis dispensary. So you can go there. You don't need a membership, right? You can go in and purchase all your cannabis products. And I buy the twisted extracts. They sell those there. I mean, I love the fruit punch. That's one of my favorite gummies. They're chewy, edible. They used to sell these awesome chocolate salted caramel things, but they don't. The company was a mom and pop and they just stopped doing it, right? But oh man, I miss those. But they have lots of edibles and all kinds of CBD products and both flower, tinctures, dabs, like everything you would want at reasonable prices, right?
Right. And that's exactly, I think, price points have always been fairly reasonable. Any one of the stores that you guys have had, I've never seen them be exuberantly priced out. So another
let's
place.
go over the websites next.
Yep.
There's so many. So it's cannabisdispensary.ca. So that's Dana's dispensary still. And it's online, but you do have to be a member to order online. So you have to follow the rules there. Then there's mushroomdispensary.com, which is, you also need to become a member, but it's very easy to do that. We have lots of staff that work in the online department to get your emails and approve you right away. And then you can get a lot of products mailed right to your door in Canada. Then we have the Coca Leaf Cafe.com, which we don't have much on right now. It's peyote. You can get peyote and pain patches, but we will have more products coming online soon. And it's get your drugs tested, right? Don't forget about that. There's more locations coming. Yeah, that there is. That's what's up next is we're opening locations within our locations of get your drugs tested here in Vancouver. So that's really cool. We're just waiting on spectrometers. They take 8 weeks to arrive from Europe. So get your drugs tested. All the information is on their website, how you can send your samples in and receive your test results back. So please check that out. I mean, testing drugs saves lives, saves supply, saves lives, and we're all about that, right? So please go to any of the websites, and if you have any questions, you can always phone. The phone numbers are on the website, so people answer the phones too.
And if and any in doubt, just Google Vancouver Dispensary, and all that information will come up for you. Right? Google's still a good tool,
and you'll know you're on our websites because I think they have Dana's photo on them, or they also like all kind of linked together, so you would know that you're at the right place. Because I can't tell you, Tamara, how many times people call the cafe and they want to complain about their order, right? And they give us some order number that we don't have, right? And it's always the same thing. They're always calling us about the complaints from other companies that they've made orders with, right? Which is funny, but we can't help them.
No, you can't. Like, unless you're ordering from us.
Yes.
The complaint line is closed.
Yes. There's so many other mail order mushroom stores, right? That's just what I'm saying. Many now. Yes.
Yeah, well, you only buy from the best. And that's...
Well, we hope people do. Because they know that, they can trust the products that they get. They've all been tested. And
well, that's a nice, thing about having the fact that Dana does have to get your drugs tested. Knowing that every product that does go through his stores have been tested, right? Yes. For safety purposes. And so like you said, safe supply is really important. People don't quite understand that, it does save lives. You just want to
I was watching your reaction, but I know so
Yeah, no, I'm all in on that. Because like I said, people bitching about having safe supply, well, they're giving drug addicts drugs for free. you know what? That drug addict is just somebody's daughter, son, whatever, and that the addict has trauma, and I'd rather give them free access to decent product so they're going to live.
Absolutely. And housing and treatment and everything else that goes with it. Yeah, it's a lot, but people can do it. Like I've seen so many examples of people that can follow the protocol and what's necessary. It's a lot, but if you can do it, you can come out free the other end.
Yeah.
Drug free. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's leave on that note.
Yeah. And let's hope that everybody heals their trauma so they can be drug free.
Absolutely. And live their best life like we are.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on, hun. I'll get you to stay around after.
I was thinking next time I would go down to the cafe and broadcast live from there with you, like another day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look around.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, we got to say goodbye because I'm going to be running into another show and spanky. Stay online because after I get closed off, we'll have a little chat afterwards. Thanks for joining us for my first show back. Thanks, Cindy, so much for coming on. We'll be back next week.
Have a
Wednesdays at noon, and I'll see you tonight on paceradio.net. See you all night. See you later.
You're listening to the Pace. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.